Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Abdullah Shami with you, and today we are going to talk about one of the most important topics of your A2 level media studies. In today's class, we are going to create a linkage between two very basic things. One thing you have already studied in your AS level, that is all about the technology. Okay, we discussed the idea about the technology, how the technology is evolving, and you can see the lot of changes in technology. Let's suppose we discussed the idea about previously we were using cameras, roll cameras, or you can say the DV cameras, and it has moved. Now the whole technology is on the card, SD card and SSD cards are there to record our footages. So in today's lecture, we are going to discuss this concept, the technology concept with the media language. Okay. Before moving forward, I need to I need to discuss one very basic idea. I need to discuss the idea of idea of media language. First, we need to know about media language. Okay. So, what is meant by media language? First, we need to understand this thing, and we will discuss and we will create a linkage with codes and conventions also, because actually media language is a director's language. Director use multiple formulas, multiple weapons, and multiple words, or you can say the multiple sentences to express their story. Actually, once I'm going to share a story with you guys, and I will explain each and every story as a storyteller, then it would be easy for me to generate some sentences and share it with you. But as far as the director is concerned, it's not like that. Director need to utilize some very important things. Let's suppose director you need to use some audio. You need to use a lot of videos. Director need to use some text also, and with the help of that particular thing, the director is able to communicate within audiences. Okay. Once I'm going to talk about the old media practices. Let's suppose once I'm going to talk about the print media, the editors use multiple words to express their expressions, and they have multiple fonts, they have multiple headline ways to express the headlines, and they're using multiple colors to express their feelings and express their stories. But as far as the new media is concerned, the things are getting changed. Now we need to look into the technology also, that how the technology is changing. Whenever we talk about the idea of new media is more about the digital media, or you can say the media of 21st century, the global age media, where you can see the electronic news channels, where you can see the digital media platforms. So we need to discuss this idea, that how these things are changing. Okay. Actually, the main theorist related to the media codes and conventions and media language is Emilian Charlotte. Okay, I will definitely attach a link of this the PPT, so that would be easy for you guys. Or I will share the link with of SlideShare. I will upload it on SlideShare, and then I will share the link with you guys. So it would be easy for you to relate this thing. Okay, what I'm saying you can see in that particular link. Okay, so the media, first we need to understand the term the codes and conventions. Okay, and very important thing in the whole scene is all about whenever we used to talk about the codes and conventions. So the very basic thing, the very basic idea related to codes and conventions is all about the traditions, or you can say the as far as the once I'm going to explain it, once I'm going to talk about, I will share I used to share the definition of the codes and convention. It could be like that: a way of constructing meaning in media text, a way of, or you can say a conventional way of constructing meaning in media text to communicate ideas and impressions for an audience. Okay, so it would be I think you are able to understand this thing. It's more about the conventional way. Let's suppose whenever you are going to oppose any codes and conventions, you need to justify it, because you are breaking the code, you are breaking a convention actually. So, okay, Actually, it's a you can say the general codes and conventions is a traditional way of constructing something. If I'm going to express anything in terms of what that once I'm going to express the roles of males and females, the codes and conventions like that. The conventional approach is this: male is performing the instrumental role and female is performing the expressive role or emotional role. But as far as the film is concerned, the film is all about it. There are some conventions of the film also. Let's suppose how to use the cut. Okay, whenever I'm going to use dip to white. Okay, why I'm using dip to white, if I'm going for the flashback, if I'm going why I'm using the I'm just going to change the color scheme, or you can say the color grading, color of the screen. Actually, why I'm changing it could be any reason. There could be this thing should be linked with the narrative actually. So these are the conventions, expected patterns. Okay, to express any story. Whenever you are, and to express any code and convention, you need to use a language actually. Okay, it could be textual language, it could be anything like that. I will discuss it later on, that what languages what formulas and or languages we need to use for this purpose. Okay, for what purpose? To express the code and convention. Okay, let's suppose I'm going to read it again. A way of constructing meaning, a particular way of constructing meaning in media text to communicate ideas and impressions for an audience, to create an impression also. Let's suppose if I'm going for the dip to white transition, the screen is going to be white and then there's a story afterwards. So you can see this thing, there's an imagination in individual's mind that the story is all about the flashback, or you can say that it's all about a dream game, or it could be anything like that. It could be like we are going for the imagination. Dip to white transition is linked with the imagination part. Okay, so this is all about it. Once I'm going to use a sunrise shot, that I'm going to say this thing, that I'm going to use I'm going to expend the time. I just want to I'm not, now I'm talking about the next day, or I'm going to and I'm going to share a story of the next year. I'm going to share the story of 5 years, 10 years. Whenever I'm going to use a shot of the sunrise, the sun is rising, it means there's something out there, there's a new story out there. So these establishing shots create some convention. These are the codes and conventions, and to express any code or convention, we need to rely on any technical codes, or we'll discuss it later on. Okay, or any media language. As far as technical, where I use the term technical code, I want to continue with this thing. What is meant by term technical code? First, we need to understand it. Actually, technical code is more about the camera angles. Okay, it's more about the lighting practice. Okay, you are using some particular thing, you are using some sound, you are using some editing elements. These all are the technical codes. Okay, actually these all are the technical codes to express any story. And there's another code in the film industry, so that's all about symbolic codes. Okay, uh, symbolic code is more about the idea of what symbolic codes are more linked with the mise-en-scene. Okay, symbolic codes are more linked with the mise-en-scene element. That would be the very good thing for you guys to understand this thing, that these things are linked with the mise-en-scene. Mise-en-scene stands for what? Mise-en-scene stands for a very basic idea that everything within the frame of your film or any moving image. Let's suppose your character's costumes. You can also include this thing, the language of the character. Okay, uh, action of the character, costumes of the character, and as far this is all about the elements of the symbolic codes. Okay, we initially discussed the idea of technical codes. There are some uses of technical element to express any story or impressions, and there are some uses of symbolic codes also. So whenever I'm going to explain any media language, so media is language is all about, I'm just going to share the definition of you with you guys. This is how the media communicates the audience. For the communication purpose, we need to utilize some codes. Okay, for the communication purpose, we need to utilize some codes. Okay, this is all about media language. This is a formula to express to communicate with the audiences. As far as the media language is concerned, there are different type of media languages actually. Number one is all about the written language. It will be like that. We'll discuss later on what is meant by written language of the media. Another one is verbal language. Number three is all about non-verbal language. And number three is all about the visual or an oral language. Let's put the audio video language. Okay, so these are the multiple ways to express anything. If I am a storyteller, I'm a director, if I want to express any story, I need to utilize some language in elements. I need to utilize some elements like written codes. Let's suppose why these things are important. First, I will start with the written codes and the written language. Then I will explain each and everything. I will share with some examples with you guys. Written language, especially in this is one of the most key element in the print media, or you can say the old media. So without the written language, it would be very difficult for someone to understand anything. Okay. The written language in print-based media, also in text such as captions for photographs, it's very important. Let's suppose written is very. Let's suppose if I'm going to share a story, let's suppose I'm going to initiate a period film. Let's suppose uh, 1980. Okay, 90. Now, once I are going to write this thing on my startup of my film, so it would be easy for the audience to understand this thing. Okay, it's a period film. The whole film is all about 1980. Everything is going to follow as per the time period. So we need to understand this thing. As far as the photograph is concerned, they were using the captions for that purpose. Without the captions, photographs are incomplete. Actually, you are not able to understand this thing where you have taken this photograph and what's the linkage of the story. Okay. Actually, whenever we are using the captions, actually that caption is going to create the meaning for that photograph. I hope you're able to understand this thing. That caption may lead towards the meaning towards particular thing. Okay, so moving forward, captions allow the publications to represent the story in a particular way. Verbal language in media areas such as television, radio, film, how the language is delivered and its context use are important factors in the way meaning is generated by the for the audiences. I hope the things are clear now. This is all about the written language. This is it's all about the meaning. Actually, sometimes once you add meaning in a photograph or moving image, it's going words, or you can give the caption to particular thing. It will create a obvious meaning. Okay. We also discussed about the idea. We need to discuss the idea of what non-verbal language. What is this? This is terms of body language, gestures, and actions. Let's suppose once I'm going to say sit, it means why you are sitting. Okay, let's suppose like this. You are sitting. It means I'm expected this thing that you have to raise up. You're not allowed to sit. Okay, this is a body non-verbal language. I'm not explaining. You are sitting. Other than anything, oh, you are sitting. It's like that. Okay, so it means sometimes your words are simple, but it is very important thing to understand this thing that this is like this. Okay, this topic is also important. Actually, most of you discuss this, understand this topic in AS level also. So this is very important. We discuss the idea of non-verbal language also. Okay, so let's suppose sometimes your gestures are very important. Your gestures used to create some meanings out of it. Okay, non-verbal language, this is in terms of body language, gestures, and action. The meaning received by the audience is seen through the actor uses their body. Okay, so I hope the things are clear now. Now you're able to understand this thing, how the things will happen. Okay. So moving forward, we discussed the idea about the written language. Then we discussed the idea of non-verbal language also. You can say that written language is also considered as a verbal language, and non-verbal language is a body language. Number three is more about the visual language. Television and film, what's on the screen, has been chosen specifically to generate a series of effects and meanings. Semiotics, meanings. So we'll discuss this later on. What is meant by semiotics? We'll discuss the whole story of it. And semiotics means the study of symbols, actually. So that whatever you are showing on the screen, it's going to create some meaning. The people will perceive some meaning. Okay. People will. I'm going to use a term of denotation and connotation. You are going to denotate something. Okay. Denotation the letter is going for the denotation, and the audience are perceiving some connotation of also for that. They are the audience are going to connote that particular thing. They are going to connote that particular idea. Okay, specific camera angles, the moment chosen to tell the story and meaning of that scene. That particular thing is going to show something, that why they use it. We discussed the idea that whenever you are going for the low angle, it means you are going to create some superior image. Whenever you are going for the high angle, it means you are going to create some inferior images. Okay, an inferior image about the particular character. Okay. Third, oral language, or you can say the sound element. Okay. uh, Actually, then now I'm going to share this thing. There are two ways of getting the sound. Let's suppose there are some dietic sound. Okay, and there's a non-dietic sound. Non-dietic sound is just like a background music. When you can't see any particular action related to that sound. If I am going to open the radio, okay, open the radio and there is a music out there, it could be a dietic sound. It means that you can see the action on the frame. Okay, and let's suppose if I'm talking to someone, there is a background music, that's a non-dietic sound. Okay, in sound you need to discuss this idea in detail, but sound used to create a lot of meanings. Okay, whenever I want to establish any sorrow feeling, I need to use a sorrow sound. I need to use a slow sorrow background music. That would be good for my film, because it is going to create an image of particular idea. Okay, so the oral language, or you can say the sound related element, is very important for the particular film, because that particular language, the sound language, is going to create a meaning for that. With actually, this is very important part of the filmmaking. Okay, sound can help create a scene and construct the environment, atmosphere, and the mood is very important. Let's suppose if I am going to use there's a scene of sorrow scene, that you can say that there is a scene with the cry and everything like that, but I'm using the hip hop sound. What is going the mood is going to be changed. The mood is just like why you are not able to link with that, because the sound is very important for the media product, and this is a very important component of your media language. So moving forward, the oral language of a media text can also help us to define the genre of piece. Semiotics, okay, let's suppose we are able to know about a genre of particular thing. Now moving forward with the semiotics. Semiotics is all about the study of signs and symbols. We need to study multiple symbols within the film and within the media to express particular idea. Let's suppose if I'm using particular, let's suppose if I'm having some tattoos on my on my character's body, how you can express that particular thing. That sometimes there are some very serious tattoos also, but sometimes the tattoos are very funky. So that particular thing, that particular symbol is going to create meaning, that my character is so much funky, or he loves this thing or that thing. Okay, the semiotics, the study of signs and symbols, discusses the literal and the potential meaning. There are two identified orders of signification: denotation and connotation. Sometimes the letter denotate something. Let's suppose he used to denotate something with something else, and it could be possible that the audience may connote that thing, or the audience may perceive that idea with something else. So it could be possible also. Okay, denotation, the literal or obvious meaning, a description of what is physically seen, or at connotation, the potential or suggested meaning. For example, a cross or Christianity sign. Okay, a cross, once I'm using a term, a cross could be a sign of Christianity, a cross could be a sign of maths, or it could be like anything. So actually, we need to understand in detail as far as the semiotics is concerned. It's one of the most detailed topic. So actually, whenever I used to talk about the social production of any sign, what is meant by this? Actually, society is more about, so the lot of meanings within the society is going to be socially constructed. A lot of things are going to be socially constructed. A lot of signs have multiple meanings. So semiotics is a study of sign. Let's suppose you need to understand this thing, that what is meant by this. Let's suppose there are multiple variation of this thing. So semiotics is more about it, that sometime whenever you are going, always the director try to utilize some obvious meaning, because it may help to director to create the particular, actually the target of director is just to create a similar meaning as the denotation, but it could be there's a possibility within the audience that may connote different thing. Okay, that is all about the study of semiotics, in which you are going to study the denotation and connotation. As far as the AS level textual analysis is concerned, this is more about the idea of semiotics. It means you are creating meaning out of it, and you are understanding this thing, that this thing may have several meanings. This thing may have this meaning also, this thing may have this meaning also, this thing may have that particular thing. So it could be possible like that. Okay. uh, So this is all about the basics of media language. Afterwards, we will discuss the idea of the technology. Actually, in A2 level, you need to link this concept with the technology. So you need to discuss the idea that how the technology is changing, how the technology is creating some different things. Let's suppose that with the help of VFX and visual effects, I can create a lot of different things. I can create some additional elements related to the visual language. I can create some superheroes, I can create some 3D characters. So it could be possible. So we need to discuss this idea in the next further class.